They've finally done it. Samsung have got me to actually want a folding phone, and it only took like 7 versions of them getting this right. I got my hands on the brand new Galaxy Z Flip 7 and the Galaxy Z Fold 7, as well as the new Watch 8s. In this video, I'm just going to break down everything that I know, how I felt using those products, like what do they feel like, some of the upgrades that they've included, the downgrades in some situations, and why I think Samsung is winning with this one. First, the big boy, the Fold 7. The star of the show this year is undoubtedly, in my mind, the Fold 7. It's like Samsung took notes from everybody complaining about the Fold, the previous iterations of all of them, and in one foul swoop and some superhuman engineering, they've just somehow fixed it. Folding phones have always had compromises in order to get that folding format. They've always had that thinner, taller front display, which can often make it feel like you're using a worse phone than your regular bar phone. And they've made this improvement by making it 6.5 inches with a 21:9 aspect ratio. That complaint that everybody had, that's ancient history right now. The front display is now a perfect size to hold, and honestly, looking at it folded, it looks like a regular phone. They've also made it a lot thinner. Like, it's wild. It's now 8.9 millimeters thick when folded, which is about the size of a pencil and about the size of my S25 Ultra. And unfolded, it's a mere 4.2 millimeters thick. Just thick enough to get a USB port in there. It's like the USB port size was the only limitation that the Samsung engineers were working with. They just had to get that in there, but you know, maybe they could have got it thinner if they didn't have that port. They've also drastically improved the strength of the glass on the folding display. Unfolded, it's 120 Hertz dynamic AMOLED display. It's 11% bigger than the Fold 6, so we're looking at a bigger display, and the glass is now 50% thicker than the Fold 6, with a layer of protective glass and then ultra thin glass beneath that. The unfolded display looks beautiful. It's Samsung. What can you expect? And even the crease, and people aren't talking about this, it just seems to have vanished unless you like hold it up in the right reflection and you just get the right like refraction going over there. But whatever they've done to the display for some reason means that the screen is no longer supporting the S Pen, which in my opinion is a huge downgrade, especially for a person like myself who loves drawing on tablets. And that's one of the benefits of a folding display. It becomes like a tablet. Hopefully Samsung are going to add it back at some point to the range, but who knows? Structurally, they've layered advanced armor aluminum or aluminum. You know, Americans say aluminum all the time, but we say aluminum, and titanium to improve its integrity. The hinge is also a lot stronger, and you can feel it when you open and close it. And it really is a phenomenal experience just holding it and slapping it closed. The ArmorFlex hinge is so tight, and it's sturdier than you'd think for something that is this thin. It's now 27% thinner and 43% lighter than the Fold 6s. Who knew the hinge was the secret to making it that small? Ultra is the theme this year, clearly, because they've given the Fold 7 the same Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 3 for Galaxy chipset on the S25 Ultra, which is bonkers. The battery hasn't seen an upgrade. It's still the same 4400 milliamp hour battery that you see on the Fold 6, but it's got a newer and more efficient chipset. One of the really exciting tidbits that we were told about is that the battery has 100% recycled lithium, and in the rest of the device, there's also 100% recycled cobalt, which to me is extremely exciting and very groundbreaking. It's something that they seem to have brushed over, but in my opinion is a huge breakthrough for the tech industry. I really hope that this is going to be a new standard going forward for everybody. Camera-wise, there's a 12 megapixel ultra-wide, which does macro, a 200 megapixel main wide camera, and a 10 megapixel telephoto. The selfie camera inside is no longer under the screen. We don't have that under display camera, which I really appreciate. Some might see it as a downgrade, but like, I don't mind a punch hole in my screen when it means that my Zoom calls are less milky, like I've dropped my phone in the toilet. It just makes your phone way more usable. I'm not sure if we're ever going to get under display cameras working because, you know, light and diffusion, I don't know how that's going to work, but it was fun, you know, kind of while it lasted. There are many colors. The color ranges seem a little bit traditional. There is a brilliant mint, but that's only available on Samsung.com and not in every region. I think that's definitely my favorite color, but I probably would slap a cover on a lot of these. I think the blue actually is my favorite. So let's jump onto the Flip 7. There are 2 Flip variables this year, the Flip 7 and for the first time, a Flip FE. The Flip 7 looks so much better with a full cover display, barring, you know, the camera bump that they've got over there, so it just fills up that whole space. But they've really made it look really cool with some awesome custom animations and cover design choices. Unfolded, it's 6.9 inches, up from last year's 6.5 inch, and folded, the Flip 7 has a 4.1 inch front display versus the Flip 6's 3.4 inch. There's a bigger battery now, 4,300 milliamp hours, a big improvement on last year's Flip 6's 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and it's creeping in quite close to the Fold. The IP48 rating is staying the same though, and it's going to be the same on the Flip and on the Fold, and the hinge has been made more durable, but appearance-wise, it's comparable to the Flip 6. It's safe to say that whatever hinge diet that they put the Fold 7 on this year, they haven't carried it over to the Flip, so maybe we'll see it roll into the Flip 8 with some improvements, or maybe it's just purely a limitation of the smaller form factor because they've got more size than the Fold 7 to distribute things, and they've got to cram a lot more things, and I don't know. I'm not an engineer or a scientist. There's also no Snapdragon chipset here. We're only getting the Exynos 2500, which according to rumors is extremely impressive. So wait until the reviews are out to solidify your opinion. But the word on the street is that it's very, very promising. There haven't been any improvements hardware-wise to the camera, so we're getting the same camera array. But the difference is, I've been told they've got great improvements with the Pro Visual engine that make it a lot better because it's got a more powerful chipset. Photography and post-processing, the age-old debate. We still get that amazing 120Hz display, and honestly, that cover screen really is beautiful. It's a really solid offering phone, maybe nothing groundbreaking or new, but the improvements I think are meaningful, and for people that want to get a Flip 7, you might want to see the next one. The new kid on the block is the Galaxy Z Flip 7 FE, which I'm really excited about because for those that don't know, FE stands for Fan Edition and is Samsung's reworking of older Galaxy devices with slight improvements and more cost-effective materials that lower the price and make them more accessible to people that actually want them. The Flip is a good product to do this with because it's definitely a very desirable smartphone for a younger crowd, maybe people that don't have as much money. And now with potentially cheaper price points, this could make the Flip FE cycle every single year, if they bring this out every year, more attainable for younger users. In true FE form, the Flip 7 FE has more in common with the previous Flip 6 than the Flip 7. Instead of the Flip 7's Exynos 2500 though, which is obviously the powerhouse that everybody's talking about, it's got last year's Exynos 2400, which is less impressive. The cover screen is smaller, being 3.4 inches versus the Flip 7's 4.1 inch, and unfolded it's 6.7 inches versus the Flip 7's 6.9 inch. Those trade-offs might make you want to consider the FE instead of the Flip 7. But if you are on the bleeding edge, I think the Flip 7 is the way more refined product of the two. Finally, let's chat about the Watch 8. They're bringing back the true classic, baby. And of course, all the other versions. There's the classic, which brings the rotating bezel back. Love the rotating bezel. I had one on my Watch 3. Amazing, magnifique. And the traditional watch appearance. For those of you who actually want a watch that looks like a watch, and I think that's what Samsung's great at. If you are a fitness head, the Ultra is also going to be dropped. And two regular Watch 8s for regular folk who like a really clean watch. The smaller 40mm one and the larger 44mm, depending on whatever wrist size you've got and what your watch preference is. Maybe you like a big fat watch and you're, I don't know, T-Pain. The big change across the board is a new dynamic lug, which replaces the traditional watch lug. This is bittersweet for me because I've long praised the traditional connection because you can add any fashion style watch strap that you want to match your outfit, for instance, things that you already have or things that you can buy that have got nothing to do with smartwatches. But the Switch comes with functional benefits. It's a bracketless double layer frame that makes the watch 11% thinner and throws in 30% more internal space for the engineers to work with. This translates to a watch that sits closer to the skin and, as a result, flusher to your wrist, which gives you more accurate readings. The biggest improvements can be seen in the software though, with a brand new antioxidant index, which should aim to get you to eat your tomatoes, because those are full of antioxidants, and improve your skin and organ health. There's a fingerprint reader that can now help you measure a variety of readings and give you daily health reports. Another new software feature is the ability to measure your vascular load, which reads your blood vessels through your skin and tracks your circadian rhythm, amongst a bunch of other things. There's also updated sleep software, which means Samsung Health can give you better readings on your energy scores. And I also love the software design. It's slicker, it's more responsive, and I really love the way that it's coming together. Also, I love the bezel on the Classic. That's the one I want. That's the one I want. And of course, they mentioned that the battery is longer lasting. My personal opinion is that the Fold 7 seems to have gotten the most love this year from all the products, but the Flip looks pretty amazing in and of itself. Last year's Flip 6 was an incredible phone, and if they've found a way to improve it overall, maybe those increments are what it's needed. And if that Exynos 2500's rumors are anything to go by, we have a really exciting phone on our hands. So, are you Team Flip or are you Team Fold?